Parable of the Good Samaritan. Love your neighbor as yourself. The parable of the Good Samaritan is precipitated by and in answer to a question posed to Jesus by a lawyer. In this case, the lawyer would have been an expert in the Mosaic law and not a court lawyer of today. Luke 10:25 through 29 relays the lawyer's conversation with Jesus. "Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law? What is your reading of it?" So he answered and said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And he said to him, "You have answered rightly. Do this and you will live." But he, wanting to justify himself, said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" The text says that the scribe lawyer had put the question to Jesus as a test. This test question provided Jesus with an opportunity to define what his followers' relationship should be to their neighbors. Luke 10:30-37. Then Jesus answered and said, "A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and fell among thieves, who stripped him of his clothing, wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a certain priest came down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Likewise a Levite, when he arrived at the place, came and looked, and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. So he went to him, and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine, and he set him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. On the next day, when he departed, he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said to him, 'Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, when I come again, I will repay you.' So which of these 3 do you think was neighbor to him, who fell among the thieves?" And he said, "He who showed mercy on him." Then Jesus said to him, "Go, and do likewise." The parable illustrates the concept of loving your neighbor by showing compassion to those in need, even those considered enemies, by depicting a Samaritan helping a wounded Jewish traveler rather than the priest or Levite who passed by. The priest and a Levite, both Jewish religious figures, pass by without helping, but a Samaritan, someone traditionally considered an enemy to Jews, comes upon the wounded man and shows compassion, bandages his wounds, takes him to an inn, and pays for his care, even promising to pay any additional expenses. At the conclusion of the parable, Jesus asked the question, who was neighbor to the wounded man, and who helped him? The correct response was given, the Samaritan, to which Jesus responded, "Go and do likewise." Real love shows itself by its genuine acts. In John 13:34-35, Jesus said, "So now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." Reflection: are you a disciple of Jesus, a good Samaritan to those in need? Jesus' command to us is to go and do likewise. That is, to be a good Samaritan to as many as need our help, to show true compassion and neighborly love through action, not just words. Anyone can be a neighbor, and real love must go beyond cheap talk. Love, when put into action, is dynamic and grabs our attention.